Well, hello everyone. My name is Christina Fagan, and I am with Union Home Mortgage, the presenting sponsor of the Union Home Mortgage Cleveland Marathon. A strong part of our culture at Union Home Mortgage is a commitment not only to our customers, but to our community through the Union Home Mortgage Foundation. It's one of the reasons we're so proud to partner with the Cleveland Marathon. Every year, the marathon allows participants to run for a cause supporting one of several Northeast Ohio nonprofit organizations. And we wanted to take some time to spread awareness about a few of the many charities that you can race in support of this year. Today, we have with us 4 nonprofit organizations that will share a little more about the impact they are having in our neighboring communities. So I'd like to welcome Pam Mace, Executive Director of the Fibromuscular Dysplasia Society of America, Ronayne, President of University Circle, who is joining us by phone, Leigh, Goldie, Epilepsy, and Donisha, Greene, Director of Community Engagement for the Cleveland Rape Crisis Center. So to get started, I'm just going to ask each of you to go through and give us a brief description of your organization's mission and history in Northeast Ohio. So Pam, I'd like to start with you.
Thank you for having me here today. This is a very exciting opportunity for us to raise awareness of our organization. FMDSA, the short name of the organization, was founded in 2003 in Ohio. I'm actually a patient myself from Cleveland. I was born and raised here, and I've participated in the marathon for several years. So when the opportunity came up for us to actually be an official charity, we were just very excited about it, and it's really helped us to raise awareness and spread education and raise funding of the disease fibromuscular dysplasia. I'd like to touch on the fact that in Cleveland, we actually have 2 centers for FMD patients. And the first center in the world was actually started by Dr. Heather Gornick, who is at currently University Hospital. And that's been a real game changer for our patients. A little bit about the disease. FMD causes your arteries to form abnormally. And so this can lead to strokes, heart attacks. I personally had a small stroke and tore 3 of the 4 arteries that supply blood flow to my brain 21 years ago. And so I've been very fortunate, but now with all the awareness that we've raised through our mission of funding and education, they're now estimating that over 5 million women have the disease.
Wow, that's staggering. And to be honest, I would tell you that I have never heard much about the actual disease, so it's great to have platforms like this to learn a little bit more. So thanks for joining us today. Next, I'm going to throw it over to Chris to tell us a little bit more about University Circle.
Hello, I'm Ronayne. I'm president of UDID. We are a community service corporation nonprofit here in the University Circle District of Cleveland, home to Cleveland's education, medical, arts, culture, religious, and social service institutions, 40 nonprofits strong in 1 square mile, a spectacular square mile of Cleveland. We've been at it since 1957, making, managing, and promoting the place that is University Circle. We were just named America's Best Arts District by USA Today in this May of 2021. We have a mission that is multifold. We are, as a community service corporation, a community development corporation that helps build the neighborhood that is University Circle. We are a community education team that works with upwards of 10,000 Cleveland Metropolitan School District children a year. We are a team that also provides community events, community marketing, trying to bring visitors to a place between our hospitals, our universities, and our arts and cultural institutions. We bring over 3 million people a year to University Circle. So we also have a community safety department that works with our team to keep the place clean, safe, and attractive. And ultimately, our mission is to connect all people, particularly starting with all of us Clevelanders, to Cleveland Center of Education, of Arts, and of a healing center that is University Circle. We aspire to be a neighborhood without borders that makes connections to our surrounding neighborhoods and welcomes all comers to this fascinating place. What gives me the greatest thrill is seeing school-age children really engage in cultural institutions as experiential learning. We know not all learning happens necessarily behind a desk, but gives kids an opportunity to explore the world, see what's possible. As they matriculate in their years, we employ many kids as summer apprentices here in University Circle and beyond, exposing them to career track opportunities that ultimately we hope they stay in Cleveland and grow in Cleveland, build their job in Cleveland, and raise their families here. So we are a part of community development in Cleveland. We are part of community attraction to Cleveland, and we are ultimately a part of Cleveland's solution in its own future to anchor off the strengths of our hospitals, our universities, and our arts and cultural institutions.
That's wonderful, Chris. You guys definitely are part of a continuing, growing group of organizations and areas in Cleveland, and it's wonderful to see that distinction is being honored. So congratulations on that recent distinction and honor.
Thank you.
Leigh, I'd like to throw it over to you to tell us a little bit more about empowering epilepsy.
Thank you so much for having us, Christina. And my name is Leigh Goldie, and I'm the founder and executive director of Empowering Epilepsy. We started in about 8 years ago with people who understand epilepsy firsthand. Many people with epilepsy, we have amazing doctors, but once we leave the hospital, there are no resources for people living with seizures. With 3.4 million people living with active epilepsy and another probably 2 million going with unidentified seizures, we are trying to change the conversation about epilepsy and seizures in Northeast Ohio. We have a variety of events throughout the year that bring people together to make positive, lasting memories, and the Cleveland Marathon is one of those events. It allows us to do what we love to do, and that's show people with epilepsy what they can do, because or doing things that setting goals and achieving them. So we want to change that conversation. And we have a team called the Purple Pacers team in the Cleveland Marathon. We ask that people walk and run just to set goals and achieve goals for themselves.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know you mentioned you guys have been involved with the Cleveland Marathon for several years now, so excited to raise some awareness about you guys. And last but certainly not least, Donisha from the Cleveland Rape Crisis Center.
Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Donisha Greene, and I serve as the Director of Community Engagement for Cleveland Rape Crisis Center. Cleveland Rape Crisis Center was founded in 1974, so we're just coming up very soon in a few short years celebrating our 50th anniversary. And our vision essentially is to the elimination of sexual violence. Through that, we support survivors of rape and sexual abuse, promoting healing and prevention and advocating for social change. Back in the 70s, before we were founded, most people suffered in silence, fear, but only in recent years we've been able to break that silence and make sure that we are holding people accountable. Over the years, we have grown from a grassroots volunteer-run hotline service to survivors of rape and sexual abuse. And now we are in roughly about an 80-person employee nonprofit leading the counseling service, victim assistance, and justice systems, and our 24-hour services that we're able to provide in a 4-county footprint whole, Cuyahoga, Geauga, Lake, and Ashtabula. So we're really, really excited about being able to be expanded into those areas.
That's wonderful, and so great that you guys are raising awareness and giving people a voice that have survived such a tragic event. So I'm so excited each of you guys and your wonderful organizations are a current charity partner of the Cleveland Marathon. And I'm curious, if someone participates this year and they choose to participate on behalf of your charity, some of you guys went into this a little bit, but what are some of the types of specific programs within your organization that these funds might go to support? We'll bounce around a little differently. Leigh, why don't we start with you on that one?
We have a variety of events and programs that this is going to help. First, we run, with COVID, we changed from in-person support groups to online virtual support groups. And they're age-based. So kids, teens, young adults, and seniors with epilepsy talks. That's an hour of Q&A with an epileptologist from a level 4 epilepsy center, and an hour of talk time with other people in their age group who are living with seizures. And they've worked out really well for us because many people with epilepsy can't drive, and so they can't get to events in person. So this has kind of been a blessing in disguise for us. Mm-hmm. We also, during normal times, we have big events like our Purple Day bowling parties, and those take place on both the east and west side of Cleveland, in Akron and in Youngstown or Warren area. where it's a way to bring people who understand epilepsy together to create positive, lasting memories. And they get 2 hours of bowling with shoes, all they can eat pizza wings and soft drinks, and the chance to meet others who support epilepsy awareness. The reason is people with epilepsy do not talk about seizures. This is something that we hide. There's a huge stigma regarding seizures because you lose control of your body. Getting people together to see that you're not alone is our main goal. And we want to show you that you can see. So that's the reason that we're taking part in the Cleveland Marathon, because we have some amazing walkers and runners who just blow me away they run a full marathon, and they're just amazing people.
I agree with you. In many weird ways, COVID was not a blessing in disguise fully, but the fact that a lot of nonprofits have been able to expand their reach even further with hybrid programs is definitely something I think we'll continue to see in the future, and is one good thing to come out of the pandemic. Pam, how about you guys? What are some of the types of programs these funds would support?
You know, our mission of raising awareness, educating physicians, funding research, and then most importantly, supporting our patient community. The funds raised from this help with all of those programs. And so, for example, we fund a patient registry, and there's 17 centers throughout the United States where patients can go and be seen. And this disease was considered a very rare disease. It was first diagnosed in 1938, but now because of the research and all of these registry centers and all of the patients that have participated, it is now considered an underdiagnosed disease. And like I stated a few minutes ago, they think that over 5 million Americans may be affected. And so the two most common symptoms of this disease are headache and high blood pressure. So how many women do you know that have one or both of those? And now we're starting to see younger women having heart attacks after childbirth. And so our awareness and education programs are very important. So it helps us to be able to attend conferences to educate physicians. We have a patient meeting every year, and our meeting is held every year in Cleveland at the same time as the Cleveland Marathon. So patients from all over the world come in, and they're actually participating with us at the finish line. And it's just a great way to bring our community together. It gives us hope, and just to be able to support our community. I can't say enough about how it's just worked out with our meeting and the marathon. So it's just been a great relationship. So the funding helps with all of this. It helps us to be able to support our patients. Our doors are always open. We try to, it's amazing with all of the technology now. We used to get phone calls, a lot of emails now, through text messages, but it helps us to really support our community and raise awareness, hopefully, so that more doctors will understand the disease and help eliminate some of the challenges and help better provide treatments for our patients.
So true, and even just being able to say those symptoms, because you're right, how many women, so I'm happy that you guys could be a part of this. Donisha, let's go over to you a little bit about some of the programs at the Cleveland Rape Crisis Center.
At Cleveland Rape Crisis Center, one of the things that we're really, really proud about is that any survivor who walks through our doors is not charged 1 penny. They are able to receive counseling services. They are able to receive coordinated care services from our funding, and support and awareness is really important. So we, this year, are very, very fortunate to open our very first anti-human trafficking drop-in center. It's literally located in the heart of Cleveland, in the Glenville neighborhood. This space is a safe haven for survivors of human trafficking and labor trafficking. The goal is to drive folks there to get job training, classes, anything you need. And so someone running in support of this and raising awareness for something like this is helping those survivors.
And Chris, how about a little bit on University Circles programs? I know you guys have a wide variety of things that you offer out in the community, but if you could just shed light on a few of those where these funds might support.
Sure. I want to focus everybody's attention to, I think, our foremost priority, and that is education. We have a community education program in University Circle that has been running now for more than 50 years. It was a response program really to the in our neighborhoods that were undergoing just some really tremendous pressures in the 60s. We reached out and said that we need to build bridges between our communities of Glenville and Huff, Buckeye, some of the eastern Cleveland neighborhoods, and provide more opportunity for kids. Well, that challenge remains, and one that we continue to provide at all grade cohorts. We have an early learning initiative. We have a K-8 student engagement initiative. But what I want to focus on are specific programs in what we call Your Community, and that Your Community is a program that focuses on out of school hours for kids to offer opportunities for experiential learning in a culture that's stimulating, that is University Circle through its museums and cultural institutions. So under the Your Community umbrella, this summer we offered a Circle Explorers summer camp, and this is to kids that aren't always able to necessarily, because of financial means within their families, attend summer camps like every other kid in the region. So we offered for free through philanthropic supporters and hopefully like the marathon support team, because it's about kids learning about their community, about exploring University Circle, and again, looking at a world that they and their future belong in as future employees and folks who matriculate here in Cleveland on their own trajectory. So our Circle Explorers Camp, I think, is an exciting opportunity to donors to partake in, to give kids a chance in a summer where they could be on one of two paths. They could be on a path that is a trajectory toward trouble, or it's a path here in the Circle that's enriching. We also are working with kids in the after school hours with a program called Future Connections. And Future Connections is again, experiential learning after school, giving kids opportunities for further learning, and particularly at the 7th and 8th grade level. Those are our Circle Scholars, I should say, and our Circle Scholars are engaged in the museums after school. When yellow buses go back to everywhere else in the region, our museums are still open. So for our neighborhood kids, it's an opportunity to have an exciting classroom in the museum. About as well is a high school program that is literally in the summers presenting kids with career opportunities, exposing them to area employment opportunities in our hospitals, in our museums, in other partners like NASA, that's been a longtime partner to us out at the NASA Lewis Research Center, and giving kids, again, the opportunity to see what's possible in their future. So between these three education programs, starting with our summer camp, Circle Explorers in the summers, and having an opportunity in the school year after school with our Circle Scholars program, and then our summer camp, which is essentially an employment and youth-based program that is really about mentorship and leadership and learning opportunities through Future Connections. Those three programs we would really suggest would be great recipients of donor dollars through this marathon partnership. Give a kid a chance. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Chris. It's great to hear about those. Very similar to some of the mission of the Union Home Mortgage Foundation. We greatly believe in some of those career pathway exploration programs. So happy to hear about that.
Terrific.
I'd love to hear, all of us, obviously, COVID has thrown everyone for a loop and has changed a lot of our programs dramatically. And for many of us, the needs for some of our organizations has increased even more. I'd like to give you guys a chance to share maybe either a recent story of success, or either recent impact numbers through COVID of things that you were still able to accomplish given all of the complications that have reached our communities recently. So Donisha, I'll change it up a little bit and actually start with you this time.
Yeah, in spite of COVID, we have been really busy of what we do. We were able to serve roughly over 50,000 individuals through counseling services, direct professionals, which we're really excited about. Because of COVID, we've had to expand the way we do our programming. like many of you, we've had to pivot, and the way we were able to do that is to launch our telehealth services. So I would say more than half of our counseling services are done via virtual, and we're very proud to be able to move in that way, so we're not turning away folks who are in need of our help.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on being able to pivot that way and bring those new programs to the community. Pam, how about you guys? What have you seen through COVID, or what are some stories of success you might like to share?
Also took advantage of the virtual opportunities. And so we were still able to communicate with our patients. We were able to have Zoom with one of our leading experts so that the patients could have the opportunity to hear the latest data, research, ask questions of him, because our meeting in 2020 was actually canceled. And so we're actually going to have to cancel our meeting next month as well. And so we're looking at virtual opportunities to still support our community that way. And we were also able to take advantage of virtual educational opportunities so that we're still providing education. And it's clearly working, because there's not a day that goes by that a newly diagnosed patient does not contact us, and we're able to be there and support them.
Chris, how about you guys? How has university settlement shifted through COVID, or what have you guys seen through success?
University Circle did the proverbial pivot last year in 2020, and it was taking our programs to our audiences online. We did everything from Shape Up in the Circle, which was literally yoga at home, through some of our area fitness partners and our fitness centers in University Circle, groups like 1-to-1. We took our chefs into the kitchens of our audiences, chefs like Zach Bruel here in University Circle with his restaurant Labatro, and we actually created cooking demonstrations. We last year did our Holiday Circle Fest with a partnership with WKYC digitally, and really televised our Holiday Circle Fest. We were basically able to remain connected to our audiences through all these different mechanisms. Technology, it can be your best friend, and it can also be the biggest barrier. We're all trying to work through digital divide issues. And so we were able this summer to offer live learning and summer camp programming that I mentioned, but we did it obviously with all safe protocols in place. I think what we've learned is there's a hybrid experience that is possible, that you can reach audiences with programming online, and you can also, with proper protocols in place, gather for live audience events, like we did with our Welcome Back Wednesday series this August, which were 4 live concerts in the Circle, again, spread out in the outdoor space. And one of the great things that we've seen an uptick in University Circle is walking. We've seen people out in the parks exploring. We've seen people on self-guided circle walk tours. We have 40 stanchions throughout the Circle to tell the story of our place. And we've had more and more green space programmed out in the outdoors. I think Cleveland can learn a lesson from itself, which is this is a great 4-season city. And if you embrace that outdoors, it's going to be healthier for you anyways. And it's really stimulating to see these great outdoor spaces. I would recommend to anybody a walk through the Cultural Gardens in Rockefeller Park, or a walk through Lakeview Cemetery right up the hill at the eastern end of University Circle, or a walk through the front yard of the Cozad Bates House, which we just opened up, which is Cleveland's oldest and only remaining pre-Civil War home that tells the story of Cleveland's era in the abolitionist movement. So we are open outdoors to experience and enjoy, and let's have more of that.
And what better way to do that than seeing the sights through the Cleveland Marathon? So great point that you brought up. Leigh, how about you guys? Are you guys seeing similar things through COVID?
Oh, wow. It has changed the conversation for us. We had to cancel our in-person Empower Your Life conference, which we have every year, usually locally. Instead, we had that conference online, and we changed it from a one-day conference to a 5-night conference that was thematic, where we had a theme every night. We had some of the top epilepsy specialists in the country speaking at our Empower Your Life conference. We had people from Harvard, from Danny Did, which is an organization in Chicago, from SUDEP Research, which is in New York, and they were all able to explain more about epilepsy and seizures and the risks and what you can do to mitigate those risks of having seizures. We turned that one conference into 3 different conferences now that we have. We have a SUDEP Action Day. SUDEP is sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. Some people would liken it to SIDS. It's similar to sudden infant death syndrome, but it's people just pass away for no apparent reason and they're found lying face down in their bed. And the way that we can teach people about SUDEP so that they know whether or not their seizure type makes them more at risk or not, is to have this conference where we have some top epilepsy specialists speaking about SUDEP and ways to lessen seizures. We also had a non-epileptic seizure conference, which is another diagnosis that some people with seizures receive, and then they don't know what to do about that because there's no medication that they can take to stop their seizures. Those are based on stress. So we have to find ways to help them reduce that stress and empower their lives. And so we had some top epilepsy or non-epileptic seizure specialists from the Cleveland Clinic and Brown University coming to speak about ways to better manage non-epileptic seizures. So we turned one conference into 3 conferences throughout the year, and it's been very beneficial. It's also been helpful because it's brought people with epilepsy together. When I grew up with epilepsy, I lived with epilepsy alone. I didn't know anyone else who had it, and I thought that I was alone and there were no resources. Being able to see other people in my age group would have been a blessing in disguise because it would have validated me. That's what we're doing with these online support groups. And they're getting to ask general questions to an epileptologist or an epilepsy specialist, which when you're in a doctor's appointment, often you're rushed and you forget the questions that you want to ask. This allows people with epilepsy and their families to ask general questions about epilepsy and seizures and get educated answers from the doctors. I'm not making up an answer. I'm giving you the answers that are proven and there's research behind them. So that's been very helpful. It's also allowed us to talk with people who are living with seizures virtually via Zoom because we have been, they're stuck at home and they're possible surgical candidates, or we just kind of get to walk them through what they're going to experience and how they can live well with it. It's been very helpful for us.
That's awesome. Exciting to hear about those conferences and the type of caliber of speakers you're able to bring in too, which going back to the blessing in disguise thing, talking about through COVID. Well, I'm so happy we could bring you all here today. I'd love to give you a brief moment before we close things out just to see if there's anything you'd like to tell runners that are training for the marathon this year or participating on your behalf.
Well, sure thing. Well, we welcome all comers to University Circle, whether you are here in the region and want to reacquaint yourself with this dynamic square mile of one of Cleveland's greatest assets and one of Ohio's greatest assets. There's nothing like University Circle to explore our arts and our culture and America's best arts district, as it was just named, and see some of the unique gems around the circle outdoors, as I mentioned. Stroll through the circle is worth it. In and out of our museums and through our grand green spaces. Come out and see the unique gem that is the circle. And if you're from out of town, we hope it whets your appetite to tell more to come to Cleveland because it's one of our greatest features. And we really hope to see you now and into the coming year. Thanks again. I
would just like to take the opportunity to thank all of our past runners, the runners that are with us this year, and for anyone who's watching this that hasn't chosen a charity. Need your support. As a patient myself, I greatly appreciate what you're doing for us and helping us to support our community. And we will be at the finish line waiting for you and cheering you on. Thank you.
I just love to say thank you for your time and talent and getting behind our great mission. The work we do is not easy, but it's wonderful when we have the support of folks like you. So thank you and good luck and win the race.
First of all, we're just so proud of you for choosing to set this goal to run a marathon. Whether it's the 5K, the 10K, the half or full marathon, you're setting a goal and achieving it for yourself, and we're really proud. For Empowering Epilepsy, we're running to change the conversation about epilepsy, and we need people to join our team to help us change that conversation. Research with epilepsy has been limited and that you guys can wear. We will give them to you. If we have a booth, we will be handing them out. And our team is just an amazing group of people. So we would love to have you join us, support our mission, and help us change the conversation about epilepsy in Northeast Ohio.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining us today. Obviously, we only just touched the surface with each of your organizations. So I encourage anyone listening today that if any of these nonprofits inspired you, please consider doing your own reach outs, looking into more research. Like I said, they only mentioned some of their programs and the type of work that they're doing, and there's so much more under the surface here. There is still time to register for this year's marathon. Like Leigh mentioned, there are options here. You can do the 5K, 10K, half or full, depending on what you're training yourself to, and it's all taking place October 23rd and 24th. If you'd like more information about how to get involved or see the full list of the charity partners this year, please visit clevelandmarathon.com for more information. But otherwise, thank you all once again for joining us today. You all have wonderful missions and such a diverse group of organizations bringing here. And that's one of the things I love about Cleveland is the breadth of nonprofit organizations we have supporting our community for so many causes. So looking forward to seeing you all at the finish line, and I hope you all have a great day.